Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I put together 25 of my best patriotic 4th of July Dollar Tree DIYs for you. I have a little bit of everything in today's video, including a patriotic tier tray. I hope you enjoy.
The first item we're going to make is kind of like a centerpiece or a floral arrangement for the 4th of July. And I'm going to use some unexpected items like this popcorn bag. This is from the kitchen aisle at Dollar Tree. And I thought like the red and white stripe pattern on here was really interesting. It's got like the different size stripes. And so I am just cutting the back of the popcorn bag off. And I'm going to straighten up one edge so I can use that like as the bottom, but it is just the perfect length to go around one of the Dollar Tree vases like this. So I'm going to start with the end that's kind of got like the extra part on it there from the bottom of the bag, and just hot glue that to the side of my vase, lining it up with the bottom of the vase, and then wrapping it around and then just hot gluing it to itself. Nothing's going to be permanent on this, so I can always peel this off later to reuse this vase if I need to. But I wanted the bottom part of it to be that fun red and white stripe pattern. And then I wanted the top of it to be a really pretty like star pattern for a flag. And I found this glitter paper from the Dollar Tree. It's like blue. It's kind of like more of a royal blue, but it is glitter and it's really pretty. So I thought that would be good for the top part of the vase. If they don't have good crafting supplies in the, 4th of July aisle, just veer out into the other aisles and you never know what you're going to find at Dollar Tree for sure. So I just need to cut this piece of paper down. I'm going to kind of measure like with maybe like a slight overlap here. And just going to use a straight edge to cut that down. And then I also want to add like stars to it. So I do go to my Cricut and cut out stars. If you have Cricut and you don't have Design Space, the subscription, you can still do stars on there. That is a free cutout. And how I did it was I just went on there and did a free star. And then when you go to print it, you can choose how many copies you want. And I chose like 40 or something like that. And I did like a 1-inch star. So we're going to use that a lot in these DIYs today. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel that off. And we have star stickers. How easy is that, right? Making stickers like this is probably one of the easiest things you can do with your Cricut. This is that new matte white vinyl that I got on Amazon the other day. I have it linked in my Amazon shop. I really like it because it's a matte finish instead of a glossy. It kind of goes with my decor more. So I'm just going to peel and stick the stickers onto our blue glitter paper, kind of randomly like they are on a flag where they kind of alternate back and forth. And just keep doing that all the way down. I wanted to do something really pretty. I mean, you could use this for a centerpiece. It's not super large. You might want to add some other items to it if you did that, if you wanted to do like a centerpiece on your table or something like that. But basically, this would be really cute anywhere. And I really like the red, white, and blue flower arrangement. That's what we're going to do in this patriotic vase. And but not with necessarily the flowers they have for the 4th of July. Not a huge fan of those either, like the star pattern flowers and stuff like that. I've used them before, but they're not my favorite. So I have that already. I'm going to attach it the same exact way I did the popcorn bag, just by gluing it to the back and wrapping it around. And look how pretty that is. I was thinking about using, some other like flag materials like the chair cover, or I've even got like a gator, one of those gators that go over your face. But I kind of wanted to do my own thing on this, and I'm really glad I did because I think it turned out really pretty. Originally, I had a different idea for the top, but it didn't really want to work out for me. So this is what we ended up with, and I'm glad it did because I loved it. Now, these are the flowers that I'm going to use, the Gerbera daisies, the agapantha, I think, and the lilac. I'm not sure about that blue one, but I think it's really pretty. And I wanted like 3 different flowers that, looked a lot different in different sizes. And maybe the white ones can kind of stick up, the lilacs to give a little bit more height to it. So I am just going to go ahead and cut these all apart. I think they look a little bit better when you arrange them if you cut them all apart. So I'm just using my floral scissors from Dollar Tree. Some of you guys have asked where I got those, and those are just from Dollar Tree. And you can find them in like their floral arranging stuff usually. And they work pretty good. So I thought these were the prettiest red, white, and blues I can find. You know, the blue's not quite dark enough is what you'd be expecting, but it's really pretty. So I thought it would work. So I just cut down some Dollar Tree floral foam and we can start arranging. It is a little bit of a deep vase, and so I am going to have to like maybe do a couple layers of foam in there to get enough height, because once I cut the stems down, they're not real high. But it does help you arrange it and keep things in place. And so we're going to go ahead and do the red daisies first. They're so pretty. And then go in here with the blue ones. Kind of alternate those in there. And then finish it off with the white lilacs. Like, I think my lilacs might have been missing, you know, some floral arrangements. I did add a little bit more foam to give those a little bit more height in there. And I usually like odd numbers with stuff like that. And I had 4, which was kind of bothering me because I was like, oh, I don't think that looks great. So I do remove 1 and make that 3 of the lilacs. I just think it looks better, and I love how this turned out. So this is our first easy patriotic DIY today, a DIY flag vase with red, white, and blue flowers, all from the Dollar Tree. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so pretty. What do you guys think about this one?
One of the things I really like is that the blues don't really match up, the reds don't really match up as far as shades, but I think it kind of makes the piece look a little bit more interesting, and it's a fun idea, especially using those little popcorn bags. You know, you can use whatever you want from Dollar Tree. Okay, check out these little firecrackers from the Dollar Tree. I think this is so cute. I've never seen these before today when I was at Dollar Tree, and I had to grab them. So they are connected with like little plastic pieces. I, of course, want to remake these. They are covered in that tinsel stuff. It'd be great for a party, but it's not really something I want in my day-to-day 4th of July decor for sure. So I thought we would make it more high-end by replacing all of this tinsel. So it's just a matter of getting it off. It's lots of different colors, red, white, and blue, and it was actually pretty easy. It has like kind of an interesting cage where they hook together, the 2 taller ones, and then the smaller one in the front kind of hooks into both of them. I do like the little sparkler on the top for like a lit firework. So I'm going to leave that on there, but I really just wanted the plastic cages because I'm always trying to find ideas to make like fireworks. And it's hard to find round items like that from the Dollar Tree, so this is perfect. I want to try to wrap them with some of this like wicker material that the hats and the placemats from Dollar Tree are made out of. So I picked up a red and blue placemat and one of the new hats in the blue and white pattern. I think that's really cool. Now, it's a little tricky to get these started, especially this first row, but I don't think I'm going to need a lot of this. I'm going to do 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 blue and white. So I just kind of cut it where it starts. And this one ripped pretty easily once you start cutting the plastic thread. And I just went around one time until it kind of comes to the seam for the outside of it, which is the tricky part. But you know what? I think that's all I'm going to need so I can save the rest of that placemat for other DIYs. I'm going to start by attaching it to the bottom like this and wrapping it around. It's okay if that like little lip shows. I don't mind that. That's going to help it stand up better. But I just hot glue that in place, and I'm just going to slightly overlap that and wrap it with this beautiful blue material. I think it kind of looks like a seagrass look. I love using this for DIYs. And I just going to wrap it all the way around on this one until I get to the very top. there's like little, notches sticking out. I'm going to try to cover those up, cut it down, and hot glue it. But I'm also going to have to cover the top of the firecracker. So I cut off another piece, and I'm just going to cut like a half of a circle, so I can piece it together around the wick like that. And then I can always trim it down to size. So I'm going to hot glue those in place. It was kind of a double layer, so I really only had to cut one of those. And I had 2 layers that I could glue to the top. And then I'm just trimming down any of the excess that might stick out at the sides to make it look nice and round. And we have our first firework, like firecracker. I'm going to go ahead and attach them all together, kind of like they came. But for now, that one looks really good, and we can get started on the next one. Now, the next one I'm going to do with the red placemat, and I wasn't as lucky with this one. I'm going to go ahead and leave that tab on there, which is kind of hard to work around. I'll show you how I did it. This one, I don't know if it's because I started at a different place, but I had trouble unwinding it. I find that the hats are my favorite for unwinding with ease, but the blue one went really easy too. So maybe I just started it kind of in a bad space because it didn't really want to tear, as you can see there. But we're going to make it work. I could kind of get it to tear this way to a point, and then it didn't really want to go anymore. So, you can always cut it if you're having trouble separating it. It's kind of like a plastic, like kind of like fishing line material that keeps these things together. I just went ahead and cut it just to finish it off because I knew I didn't need very much. I just need like the outer portion of it, which is a little tricky to get off of there anyway. So I just cut that down, and then we can wrap our red firecracker with it. I gave up and cut it. I don't know why I was having trouble with that one. And just like before, I'm going to start at the bottom, hot gluing this, and we'll just have to work around that tab because I want to leave it on there. I think it's important to it when I go to attach them together, right? So once I get here to this point, I just cut a little slit right where the plastic piece is, but not all the way through, so that I can wrap it around, no problem, like that. And when I get to the second tab, I do the same thing. I just cut a little slit and keep wrapping it all the way to the top. I think this material looks so much better than the tinsel that was on there before. The colors are really patriotic, so I think it's perfect. So I got all of that covered. All I have to do is cut the little half circle here for the top and separate the 2 pieces and hot glue those on. Just make sure your hot glue is dry on those before you let go of them. I kind of use the plastic pieces as a guide of how to put these on there and gluing those together. Definitely not messing with the top of the firework because I like that. I think that looks really cute. So we have our red, we have our blue, and now the smallest firecracker we're going to do with the hat. They have these in blue and white and like hot pink and white, and they have the little purses in this like 2-tone now too, which is new at the Dollar Tree. I really like it. I picked up some of the pink and white ones, I thought for pink flamingos, DIY, so stay tuned for that. But the blue and white one I thought would be perfect for 4th of July. So you saw how easy it was to unwind the hat. It just comes right apart and gives you lots of material to work with. I wasn't sure how much I was going to need since this was a smaller firework. And so I'm kind of leaving it attached to see how much I need. I want to save it. And these have small tabs on them. And I just kind of was able to actually get that to go through the material because it's kind of like a waffly shape. You can kind of move it around and slide things through it if you need to, which is exactly what we did with this one, so the tabs still stick out. I have 2 tabs or 2 sets of tabs that stick out on that, and then just cutting the little piece to cover the top of it. This one's not too layered like the placemat was, so I did have to cut 2 of those down to size and just hot glue those to the top. I thought the blue and white would look really cute for the front firecracker as I put them all together for a decor piece. Now I've kind of made a larger version of this with a Dollar Tree like candle. So you'll have to check that out in one of my previous DIY videos from, I think, last week. I just hot glue the two tabs together here for the back. And I kind of covered up some of this, so I only had slots for one set of those tabs coming out of the smaller firework. So I thought I'll just cut the other two off. I don't think I really need them, and I don't want to worry about cutting holes in that red firework. So I just hot glue the one set of tab in as I glue them all together like that into a set of firecrackers. And then to make sure they stay together, and I think it looks cute too, I decided to wrap them in twine. And I want to wrap it around several times because this twine is kind of thin to kind of make it look like a bundle of fireworks. And I'm simply going to tie it off here in the front. It's going to help keep it together. It adds a little bit of decor to the piece. And just kind of arrange that to make it look nice and cut off the ends. And we have a set of DIY firecrackers that are so cute. I'm so glad that Dollar Tree has gotten these in. I've never seen them before with their 4th of July decor. So here they are, my red, white, and blue firecrackers wrapped in that great material. I think the blue and white one is my favorite. I like the two-tone. That's so cute. And they look classy for 4th of July decor, something that you can leave out all season. Now for the next DIY, I'm going to make a big sign using one of these United States signs plus 2 of the large hanging signs like this. These are even larger than the shelf signs. And I needed large for the sign because this is going to be really big because the United States sign is really large. So this is going to be like a multi-layer sign too, kind of like the other one we did, but a much larger piece. I'm going to put the 2 longboard signs together just like I do with the shelf signs, just by doing a bead of hot glue and putting them together just like this. Mine were pretty flat, so they glued together nicely, and I'm just making sure everything is secure. And I did sand like any of the excess hot glue off. And I also need to take care of the holes there in the side of the sign. I'll show you how I do that here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and paint the whole thing white. I want like a white background to this. What I want to do is cover the United States sign from the Dollar Tree with blue and white stars. And I want to have a red and white stripe flag background. So we're going to do our own DIY flag stripes on this. So I painted it white 1 coat and then just filled in the holes with a little bit of the Dollar Tree white spackle. It's okay if you can see them. I just kind of wanted them filled up. They didn't really make sense in a sign like this. And now it's time for my painter's tape. I want like a red stripe on the top and the bottom. I think it looks better that way. And then I'm going to do the 3rd stripe here in the middle, kind of overlapping both of our signs. So I'm putting together 2 pieces of the skinnier painter's tape to represent a wider white stripe there. And then I can paint my 3 stripes on here. I already painted it white, so 1 coat of the red should be plenty. And doing flag stripes on pieces like this is so easy to do, especially if you have a little bit of painter's tape. Sometimes I use the Dollar Tree painter's tape. I do find that it isn't as high quality as the one that I get, like the brand name stuff that I get at Walmart. I do find that bleeds a little bit less. And I'm trying to be kind of careful too, using a foam brush as I paint my red and white stripes on. And look how beautiful this turned out. Whenever I do flag stripes, I always like doing the red stripes on the top and the bottom. It just makes the piece look more finished to me. Now we can start with the United States. Doesn't matter which one you get. I chose this one because it's nice and large, and I happen to have a piece of Dollar Tree fabric left over from a previous video that I got at Dollar Tree. It's blue fabric with white stars, so it's perfect. Now the trickiest part was cutting this out because I have to cut it down perfectly to size. So I put it face down, went around the whole thing with an ink pen, trying to get as much detail as I can get on that, and I'm gonna have to try to cut it down. So this took a little bit of patience because I wanted to cut it as perfectly as I could. I tried to cut off all the ink so that I didn't really have fabric overlapping the ends of the United States. And of course, the continental United States. I guess I'm cutting off the keys down here, right? And just trying to take my time and cut this well because it's gonna really affect how the piece looks. And I want to stack signs kind of like we did before. I have another one of the galvanized metal Dollar Tree 4th of July signs that I thought would be perfect for this, and I think that's going to look really cute on top of the blue and white star United States. So I think I did a pretty good job of cutting that down to size. Since I'm using fabric, it's going to cover up all that glitter, everything that's going on there, and just make it look so much more simple and cohesive. I really would like to find some more of this blue and white star fabric. I actually got it like in the crafter square, not in the 4th of July section. I know they do have the blue on burlap star pattern this year, which is really cute. And I guess you could do it with that or like scrapbook paper too, if you could find a piece that's large enough to cover the sign like this. And you could always do a smaller version too. They do have the smaller wood United States signs, but I wanted to go large on this one. And I Mod Podge all the fabric down. I did it in 2 steps just because it's such a large sign. And then I just kind of smooth out my fabric to make sure it's nice and attached. And look how cute that looks against the red and white flag stripes. Did have a little bit of wet paint over here that bled a little bit. So I'm just going to touch up that one little flag stripe. And then I'm going to layer this together like I said. This is another one of the metal signs that I got, Home of the Free because of the Brave. And we're going to layer all these signs together. And whenever you layer Dollar Tree signs like this, you can take the thin signs and it makes it look so much better and I think more substantial. I'm going to go ahead and kind of trace exactly where I want to put this because when you're working with hot glue, you're working fast and sometimes you can get things glued on there. They're not quite centered and stuff like that. So I thought if I had a little guide mark on both of the top corners, that's going to help me glue it on there a little bit better. So I kind of use hot glue just all over the place because I want it to be attached at every single point and stay on there when I go to hang up this large sign. And I just remember my little guides here. And that helps me glue it on a little bit better. I think it's looking really cute so far. I can't wait to see what it looks like all put together. I do need to replace the hangers since I'm using it horizontally, right? So I decide at 4 inches in from each side of the sign, I'm gonna glue on some of these little hangers that I just have left over from other Dollar Tree signs. I always save all of my hangers because they definitely come in handy. And I think hot gluing them on, since it's a thin sign, I can't really screw them on. I think that's going to be plenty, and it's going to help me be able to hang this large sign evenly on the wall. Now here is the sign. They are 2-sided, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to put that right here in the center of the United States, Home of the Free because of the Brave. It's really cute. Since it's metal, I'm going to use some of the Gorilla Glue tape. I just had some of this on hand, and I'm going to use that to glue it on. I thought that would be really secure and help with the hot gluing the metal kind of part of the sign. So I'm just pulling off the paper on that and gluing that to the fabric right here in the center. And then it has a hanger in it, so I use one of the just metal thumbtacks from the Dollar Tree to kind of punch that in. That's going to help hold it on there as well. And it actually, with the 3 signs, it made it, kind of thick enough to not stick out of the back. This is how it turned out, our home of the free because of the brave sign. And so we used 3 or 4 signs, I guess, from the Dollar Tree because we used 2 for the back sign. So 4 signs from the Dollar Tree and a little bit of fabric, and we got this wonderful patriotic sign. I think it's so pretty. And it's really large, actually. Now for the next DIY, I've never seen these before, but I saw these at Dollar Tree today. They are little flag star battery operated lights. So I thought we can make something fun with those. I picked up like a horizontal sign like this, and basically I'm going to use it as a little DIY tray. I think it's going to be the perfect size. So I just removed the word that was on it. I removed the little hanger, which I will save for another DIY. And I'm going to use it like a little tray to make a candle holder. I wanted to cover it in blue flag stars. And so I'm going to use a Dollar Tree bandana, and I thought we could kind of just wrap the tray a little bit like you would wrap a present to cover the top and the sides of it. So just lining that up where I'm not really going to have any of the red and white gingham visible, and I'm hot gluing that to the back of the sign frame. And you can use whatever you can for this. I just thought that if I used a pre-made sign like this, I wouldn't have to actually build the tray. And it was really easy to do. So I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. Hot gluing that, keeping it kind of tight, covering the top of the tray with the blue and white stars. And I don't really need all this excess fabric. It's kind of in the way at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. Cut off like the red and white checks all the way across on the 2 pieces that we've glued down. And I told you we were going to be wrapping this like a present. So on the sides, we're going to kind of, just like you wrap a present, do little corners to cover the entire thing. So just trying to trim this up a little bit. It was kind of hard to get a straight cut, but you're not going to be able to see the bottom of it anyway. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut off the red and white checks from the side as well, just to give me the star fabric for our bandana. And then I'm just going to fold it, hot glue that on the back of the sign as well, which is going to be on the bottom of it. And none of that red will be visible. It's all going to be kind of hidden. So I just kind of fold the corners up like that so I can get some tight corners. I'm going to glue it here like we did for the other sides and just kind of pull it as tight as I can. I don't really want all this excess fabric and stuff on the bottom of it, but once I get it glued down, I can kind of trim that up a little bit and make sure everything is glued down. If there's multiple layers like that, I can just glue that down as well. I want it to look really clean from the front, and I really wanted just to make like a patriotic tray to display the beautiful patriotic candles. So I just did the same thing here on the other side. We're going to wrap it like a present. I want to put hot glue on the back of the sign first and try to get the corners here as tight as I can. Just a really easy way to cover something like this with fabric. Since I kind of wanted to wrap it all the way around, I didn't want any rough edges on this because I wanted the top of the tray to be covered with the stars. So that looks pretty good. I do want it to have feet, and so I'm going to use some of those little wood cubes from the Dollar Tree. I do want to paint them. I thought about red, but I decided just to go with white, nice neutral color that I can paint all 4 sides of those. That's going to be exposed, and these are going to be the perfect size for 4 little feet for our candle tray. And I just cover the 4 sides where you're going to be able to see it. I don't really care about the side that's going to be attached to the tray or the one that's going to be on the bottom. And I just hot glue these in place. As you can tell, they're nice and small, so they fit really well there on the back of this side. So if you don't want to build your own tray from scratch, you can definitely do it with a Dollar Tree sign like this. And I didn't even have to paint it. So it's looking really cute so far. These are the candle holders I want to use since they're like tea light size. These come in a 4-pack at Dollar Tree. I'm going to use a total of 3 of them. They're just clear glass, and I think they're going to fit perfectly on this tray, just like this. And then I thought it would be fun to kind of fill them up with a little bit of sand to kind of raise the candles up. And Dollar Tree does have colored sand, so I picked up some red and some white sand. And I thought we would alternate red and white like flag stripes going on our blue and white star tray. So I'm just filling up the 2 on the outer edges with some of the red sand. And then I'm going to do the center one with some white sand. And then we can put the little battery operated candles right inside. These are really cute. They actually change colors. As you can see, all different colors, and they kind of flash, which is kind of fun for 4th of July, right? And I'm just going to kind of push those down into the sand. The sand was great because it raised them up where you can see the great star pattern or flag pattern on there. And just making sure they all work. And they all did. I was so excited to find these. They also had like, I think Eagles and Uncle Sam hats as well. So super cute for the 4th of July. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach them with a little bit of hot glue just to make sure they stay in place on our tray. I probably should have done the next step first because I went ahead and glued them all on here, and then it was kind of hard because then I decided I wanted to cover the sides of the tray as well. And I didn't really want to spill the sand and stuff on there, so I'm going to have to be kind of careful how I do this. But I just got some red satin ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree and some thinner white satin ribbon. And I'm going to do flag stripes on the edge of the tray just to add a little bit more red, a little bit more color. And I'm just going to glue that all the way around. So I started on the back, just hot gluing that to the fabric, one side at a time, and making sure that kind of lines up with the top of the tray. And the reason I'm using like a skinnier white ribbon too is there wasn't a lot of room. So with the red ribbon being a little bit bigger and the white ribbon being a little bit smaller, it fit on there perfect. And again, I do want all the sides. I did overlap it a little bit so that my corner would not actually be the seam. I thought it might look a little bit better if I had the seam be on the back of the tray like that. And I would show you what it looks like right now, but I don't want to spill my sand. But this is what the ribbon looks like. And you'll be able to see it here in just a minute as soon as we're done with this DIY. So I'm going to start on the back as well with the white. And I didn't think I had any of the white skinny ribbon from Dollar Tree, but I guess that I do. It's a little bit harder to find sometimes. I try to get all of my ribbon at Dollar Tree just because it's so inexpensive. Sometimes the ribbon selection can leave a lot to be desired. So I'm going to have the seam kind of be in the same exact place, kind of wrapping it a little bit around the back of it. And so we have red and white flag stripes on the side of the tray, blue and white stars there on the top, and those great flag star candles in all of the candle holders. Very festive, and it looks so cute. So here's kind of a close-up view of my candles and that fun patriotic tray that we made to display them. Whenever I have small items like that, I try to make a larger piece to kind of group them all together and make it a little bit more of a substantial decor piece. This is what it looks like when they're not lit up. And here it is lit up. They flash all different colors. Super cute for the 4th of July. Now this DIY, I want to show you how easy it is to take one of these cute bags from the Dollar Tree. I just got one of these today at my Dollar Tree, and I think it's so pretty for a sign. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut the front panel of it off. Has great size as well with that star pattern. I might be able to use that for another DIY. But I just want the front sheet where it says Land of the Free. I like that it's kind of simple because it's going to provide me a really simple background that I can then decorate. And I'm going to show you how to make this into a permanent sign. So I love the Dollar Tree wall shelves. I use those all the time. And I'm going to use 2 of these together. And that is going to be the perfect size to create a sign out of this. So I don't need any of the hangers, the rings, or anything like that. I just need the thick shelf, and I DIY with these all the time. Whenever I see these in my Dollar Tree, I pick up a whole stack of them because look how thick they are. They're like raw wood. You can add them together, 2, 3, 4, make any sign you want, as large as you want, and no warping or anything like that because they're nice and thick. I'm just gonna hot glue these together just like that, super easy, and we have a great background to put that Land of the Free bag sign on. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is nice and flat. So I did go ahead and like sand the little hole hangers. I'm not too worried about them. I just didn't want any of the splinters to interfere with this when I glue this on. And I kind of see exactly where I want to lay it. And it looks like right about here is going to have everything well centered. So I just laid my wood sign on top. I'm going to use an ink pen just to go around all 4 sides so I know exactly how to cut that down. I'm going to go ahead and cut that plastic bag down. And even though it's made out of plastic, it's like a reusable plastic material. It's not shiny, it's nice and thick, and it's actually pretty nice to craft with. And it cuts so well. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it down. I'm not going to frame it or anything, but it's also not going to be a hanging sign. So I will show you how we're going to display this. Isn't this cute? It's such an easy way to make a nice large sign like this. And the Dollar Tree bags like this can be so cute. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to try it on for size here on our sign. And then it's just a matter of attaching this. And we're going to add more to it because it's a little plain at this point. So I do Mod Podge all over the back of my shelves here. A nice thick coat. I want to make sure all of it is glued down. And it's kind of like that plastic material, so I want to make sure it has good adhesion. I just go ahead, lay that on there, and smooth it out. I was able to cut all the seams and everything off of it since I made the sign a little bit smaller than the bag. But making sure it's all glued down is crucial. You don't want any bubbling, and you don't want any corners coming up. So if the corners are even a little bit loose, I just add a little bit more Mod Podge to it. And you also don't want any material hanging over. So if you cut it a little large, you can still kind of trim it at this point to get like exactly the size that you need. And I'm just going to trim it up a little bit here and there to make it perfect. Now, this is what I'm going to use to decorate it. They're called Patriotic Scatter, but they're actually kind of large. So I picked up these. These are like the fireworks, and I think they're so cute. I'm going to use like, I think a total of 3 of them on here. Basically because that's all I have room for. And one on the left, right, and bottom. And then I'm going to use some craft wood that I have to make a base. We're going to make a large standing sign for the 4th of July with this. So I like the way that looks. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue all the fireworks on here. I've never seen these before. I think they're really cute. They also had like the patriotic popsicles. And I believe some other items as well. But I think they really look festive. So I just go ahead and hot glue all 3 of those in place, making sure I'm not really covering up any of the words or anything like that. Kind of having them shooting off in all directions. Now it's time to make the base of this sign. I'm going to cut it a little bit longer, just slightly longer than the sign itself. And this is just like the craft wood at the Dollar Tree. I actually had some old wood in my garage that I just cut down into kind of usable pieces just to get rid of it. And it's really came in handy for crafting. I don't want it to be just plain wood though, so we're going to paint it. I'm using navy blue acrylic, which is going to go perfectly with the sign because the Land of the Free is written in navy on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint the top, the front, and the back, and the ends of this board sign. It's going to provide the perfect base, nice and heavy, to hold up a large sign like this. The ends are a little raw, so you can kind of get the paint kind of squished down inside there to make it sure it picks it up. But as you can see, one coat of paint is definitely all that takes. I do want to make sure I get it really dry though, so that my hot glue has something secure to stick to. I do another bead of hot glue on the bottom part of the sign, kind of like when we stuck the two signs together. And then I'm gluing it on a little bit more towards the front than the back. And that's just so I can add some braces back there to even add more stability to it. It seemed pretty stable, but it's a pretty large sign. So I kind of wanted to add some little supports there in the back. To do that, I'm just using some of the little Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. Sometimes you can get these that are already kind of stained. Doesn't really matter. You're not going to be able to see them back here on the back. And I just hot glue that to the base and the sign just to make it a little bit stronger. And there it is, our Land of the Free sign. I think this is so cute. It's really large, really festive and fun for the 4th of July. And I was going for standard patriotic 4th of July decor with these DIYs today. As you know, I also do coastal 4th of July here on my channel, but some of you guys want just straight 4th of July patriotic DIYs. So this video today is for y'all. I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this? It was a bag. Now for the next DIY, I picked up 3 of the wood beads. One of these macrame towel holders from the Dollar Tree. Basically, I just want the dowel out of it. So you can always use like a plunger handle or a large dowel like this. And I want to make some like door chimes, wall chimes, if you will. But I want them to be really festive. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the wood piece bright red with some acrylic paint. A little makeup sponge brush works great for this, because I don't want it to get too much paint on it. And then I want to hang these little wood beads down to kind of make like a hanging mobile, or I'm going to use mine for a door chime. I'm going to put it on my door to go to my garage. I think it'll be fun, using all these items from the Dollar Tree. So these wood beads have larger charms on them than they've had in years past at Dollar Tree, and I thought they'd be perfect for this. I'm going to use the USA one for the middle, and I'm going to cut off a little bit more of the string than I need for the bead, so I have enough of it to be able to tie it to the dowel here on the top. And I want this to be kind of centered. I just tie that in a double knot, and I love the red, white, and blue wood beads hanging down. That's going to be the lowest part of my chime. And you could even use these outside as wind chimes as well if you wanted. I'm going to go ahead and save those beads. I'm going to need them here in a minute. Here is another one that I got. I made sure to get 3 different ones. This is like a heart shaped a flag, and I want it to be, this is going to be the shortest piece. So I don't need very much. I'm going to cut off some excess twine so I have enough. And I'm going to double knot that around just like that. And I just kind of estimated how long I wanted those to be. I will have to be more exact here with my third one because I'm going to want it to be the same length. I did notice my third one had a little bit shinier beads than my other ones had. And so, you know what? I'm going to use these that I saved just to make sure they're all the same. I don't know why. They look a little bit glossier, shinier. And I want them all to be uniform. So I just went ahead and counted out exactly the same, putting it in the same pattern, blue, white, red, as I did the other side. And then I can just cut the little Uncle Sam hat off the ones that had a little bit shinier beads. I just thought if they were all together and one of them were a little bit different, it would be noticeable. And then I just tie the little Uncle Sam hat on here. And we have 3 of the 5 pieces of the wind chime complete like that. I also want to add some of the metal stars they have from the Dollar Tree. And I had a couple of them left over from another DIY. I have a navy one and I have a red one. Aren't they so cute? And these are perfect for the chimes because they will bounce off the little wood pieces and make that clinking noise like a wind chime. So this is what they look like. I do like that they have red, white, and blue beads as well that are smaller, but I need them to hang down longer. So I'm gonna have to kind of piece this together using twine. I'm gonna have to kind of DIY the wood beads for those, but I want them to go right about there. So it hangs down in like a V shape there at the bottom of the chime. So I just used some Dollar Tree twine, and then I was trying to decide, I want to use as much of the wood beads as I can from those. And they didn't have a lot on there, but I did have 2 extra ones from the previous DIY that I used these metal stars for. So I was able to get lots of red, white, and blue beads. I'm going to go ahead and lay them out in a pattern. Red, white, and blue. Kind of see exactly what I have. So it will be the same on each one of them. And then I'm just going to tie off the metal star here for the bottom of the chime. And kind of string my own wood beads on these just so that I can make that a lot longer than the hanger that was on there. It doesn't have to cover the entire string like the other 3 did. But it's definitely going to give it a little bit more red, white, and blue fun. About half of it, I guess, is covered with the wood beads. And I do like that they are a different size as well. So we're going to do the same thing here on the other side. I'm going to have that one hanging right about there. And so I'm just tying off the red star, and we can thread the wood beads on this one as well and tie that to the top of the wind chime. So same pattern on both of these. I just string that around. I want to hang these the same length. And so I'm trying to keep them as straight as I can so I can kind of get these right. I decided if I had them maybe at this angle, it might be a little bit easier to measure exactly where I need that star to be. So everything will be level. And then I'm just going to tie this one off as well. If you find that your twine at the top is moving around where you don't want it to, you can always hot glue them in place, but mine did pretty well up there. That looks pretty good. I think that's going to work. Now I just need to work on the hanger. I removed the macrame hanger that was on there before just because I didn't think it went with the red, white, and blue festive vibe of this. So we're just going to DIY our own hanger on this and tying some more twine here at the end. And I do have some of those red, white, and blue larger beads left over from the wood bead garland that I took apart. So I'm trying to sort those out so I can kind of do a pattern in those. And I can decorate the hanger with wood beads as well, because if I didn't, it would look kind of plain with all of the wood beads going on the door chime. So I think I have plenty. I'm going to kind of scooch this down a little bit so you'll be able to see this. And we're just going to string the red, white, and blue beads on this, kind of forming a pattern and repeating it on the other side and then tying it off on the other side to create a beautiful wall or door chime. I love how this turned out. So once I got about halfway, I reversed the pattern on my red, white, and blue beads so it would be symmetrical with each other before tying it off on the other side. And these on the ends are kind of the crucial parts to get tied really tight, because that's going to be your hanger. It's going to hold everything up, especially if you're going to put yours on a door like I am. So I can hear the chimes, but they look so cute hanging down. This is how it turned out. Really fun. And I had a great time putting these together. So a fun idea for the wood bead garland from the Dollar Tree. I think they're really cute and definitely a fun way to use those. And the little metal stars make great wind chimes.
Okay, the next DIY, I picked up one of the red and one of the blue, like little mason jar cups they have right now, and 2 of the little Patriotic solar lights. I thought it would be so easy to make these into little solar lights that you could use on your front porch or your walkway for the 4th of July, or you use these for party decor. And I still have some of those white star stickers. So on the blue one, I'm just going to simply add some of the white star stickers kind of in a random pattern. And that's going to be decor, but it's also going to like make stars like reflect when this lights up at night. And I'll show you that here in a minute. It turned out pretty cool. I also just cut down 2 strips of white vinyl for my Cricut. And I'm just going to try to straighten these up a little bit to make those lines look straighter because they're kind of a hot mess. And I cut off just 2. I think 2 white stripes is going to be enough because I want to do like a red and white stripe pattern on the little mason jar and then add the lights to the top. I recently did a solar light video where I did 20 ideas to make DIYs with these solar lights from the Dollar Tree. I love using them. They are so fun to decorate outside. And you're probably going to have to use them outside because you're going to need the sun to recharge the little solar lights. But I've been pleasantly surprised with how well those have been working. So for the white stripe, I just kind of stretch it out, try to keep it as flat as I can to try to avoid any wrinkles in that. But if you get some, you can probably smooth those out fairly easily. And then do a second stripe. My stripes still aren't super straight. You could also use like if you had like a white like electrical tape, that would be just the right size for stripes as well on these. And this one's going to give me like a kind of stripe pattern when it lights up at night. But it looks like a flag with the blue and white stars, the red and white stripes. So I think they make a perfect pair and so easy to do. I can just save those lids to use on other jars. My son always likes drinks with lids on them with straws. And then I just need to find a way to attach this to it. I'm glad that it still has like a star pattern on it, even when I take it off the solar light. I'm just going to use the very end because I found that the little plastic part there concentrates the light and makes the whole jar not shine. So you want to use just the very tippy top. It's a little bit smaller than the width of the little jars. And so I'm going to kind of just use twine to glue it on and some hot glue. That way it will be kind of temporary too if I wanted to reuse these. But I think these should hold up. We'll find out how the batteries do in storage when I store these for next year. So just along that seam between the solar light and the jar, I am doing a bead of hot glue and using just some of that Dollar Tree thin twine and filling that gap in. That is going to attach it to the jar. Then I'm just going to wrap that twine around for decorative purposes and to cover up like the screw part of the jar lid. And I'm not looking for perfect coverage on that, just for a little bit of decor and to fill that area in. So there is like our little red and white stripe one. And then this one is going to be the blue star solar light. These were so easy to DIY. These would be great for a party, but you know, these would be great for outdoor decor as well. I always like some outdoor decorations for 4th of July. And I've posted a lot of 4th of July videos so far this year, and I have done outdoor DIYs, including like wreaths and porch sitters and different things like that too, if you need more decorating ideas for outside. So I just glued that twine, wrapped it around like I did on the first one, and we have 2 little patriotic 4th of July solar lights, and they were so easy to make. And I think they look really cute displayed together. I saw the blue and the red jars, and I just knew it was needing to be a 4th of July DIY. And I will show you how these look lit up at night as well. This is how they look together, and this is the reflection you get at night. See the cool star pattern?
Now, I'm not super excited about the selection at Dollar Tree for 4th of July, but I'm going to show you how I use some of the pieces to make some really cute festive decor for 4th of July. So for the first DIY, I just removed the hanger from one of their long board signs because I want to make it a vertical sign. And since it already has like the little slats in it, I thought this would be perfect for some flag stripes. So I want to leave the center one white. So I just tape that off with some painter's tape. And then I'm going to add red flag stripes. Since the red really likes to go everywhere, I'm going to take the extra time to tape off the frame as well, just because I don't want to stain it with the red paint. And what I want it to be is a red, white, red flag stripes for the bottom part of this sign. So the red, I had a white sign already, so I don't have to do anything with that one, and it takes the red paint really well. The only thing I was worried about was getting in these corners over here, so I did have to kind of switch it up to a smaller brush to make sure I got pretty good coverage. And I'm using my good painter's tape because I'm trying to avoid having any bleeding there, and it did a pretty good job. So we're going to do the same thing here with our other flag stripe. And what I want to do is have like blue with white stars at the top and then red and white flag stripes going down the vertical side. So I think one coat is all it's going to take. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove my painter's tape. And at first I was going to use the flag banner that you see there, the paper banner, for the blue and white stars for the top part. But I did switch it up to something else. One mistake I kind of made here is that I should have left the top part of it white, because even with what I end up using, it was still see-through a little bit. You could see those red stripes a little bit shining through, so I should have left part of it white. So do that if you're going to recreate this. So just touching up a few little areas, it looks pretty good. I love the wood frame on that. And this is what I'm going to switch the paper up for. I decided to switch it up to a bandana for some blue and white flag stars. And this is a bandana. It is not a flag. I always have the flag police coming in my comments. And I'm just going to use the material up here for the top. So it's just kind of trying to get a rectangle cut out of that with pretty straight lines. So I'm going to do my best here. It wasn't sewn great. I thought maybe I could even use my paper cutter, but no such luck. So I'm just going to try to cut some straight lines the best that I can with some sharp scissors. So I just cut down about how long I guess I want it to be, like that, and get a straight edge. And I decided to go ahead and cut it where it was folded, just because that gave me a really good edge to cut on to get a straight line. And then I'm just going to do my best to get like 90-degree angles here. I'll have a little bit of flexibility working with fabric. But I got my first 3 lines all cut pretty good. And then for my 4th line, I really want it to be kind of exact. So I used like a pen to kind of crease that a little bit. It didn't really write on it, but it gave me enough of a crease where I could cut that down to size. And that's what it looks like over the red and white stripes. But what I want to do is Mod Podge it down. And I know that, you know, it's going to show through a little bit when I get it wet like that. So I'm just going to put some painter's tape down here and then go back and paint the red stripes on top white. These were the ones that I said I should have just went ahead and left white because it would have made everything a little bit easier. But it's not too late. I'm just going to go ahead and try to cover up that bright red. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just don't want it showing through that blue and white star fabric that we're going to do at the top of this. Now, at first I was just going to leave this like stars and stripes. I think it would be really pretty. It was a little plain though, so I actually took this up a notch and added to this project as I went along. But I have the top part painted, so now I can Mod Podge my fabric on. I'm just going to do a nice even coat all over the area that we painted white. It should be about the exact size. And when you're working with fabric like this, you can move it around a little bit. You do have like a little bit of stretchiness to the fabric, a little bit of wiggle room. I was trying to keep the top of the fabric relatively dry, but make sure it had really good contact with the back of the sign. And then since I changed the hanger, I do need to provide a new one. I'm just going to use one of those little sawtooth hangers. I always pull these off the canvases from Dollar Tree that I DIY, so I usually have some of those on hand. And that's what it looks like without anything, which I think it's really pretty and it'd be a great backdrop for something else. But if you're going to have it just be a standalone piece, I think it kind of needs something. So I decided to add USA. This is a Dollar Tree sign with the little stars that say USA. I think they're pretty cute. They do have glitter on them, but for the 4th of July, I can go with that. So I didn't really like the navy on the navy for the U, so I kind of am going to scoot that down a little bit so most of it's over the red and white stripes. And then we're just going to go ahead and hot glue these on to that center white stripe. And it just really made the sign super festive. I liked it without the USA, but you would really have to pair it with another patriotic decor item around it. Like you could have it as a leaning sign or something like that. Or you could take it up a notch and add a USA to yours as well. This was a really fun DIY to do. It was super easy, and I think it turned out so cute for the 4th of July. So let me show you what it looks like up close. And I love taking apart like those little hanging signs like that USA sign. Gives you great pieces like this that you can add to another sign. Super inexpensive. So, I mean, I used 3 items from the Dollar Tree. And the bandana was only half of $1.25, so very reasonable DIY. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's video so far? If you are, be sure to hit the like button. It always helps my videos. Okay, the next DIY is so easy. I saw these new gold mirrors at my Dollar Tree, and I picked out one that was the starburst because I thought it would be so cute combined with one of these galvanized metal star signs that they have for the 4th of July this year, because it says God Bless America in gold glitter. And I thought the starburst shape of this mirror really reminded me of an exploding firework like 4th of July. So I'm simply going to put hot glue around the little plastic frame of the mirror and just stick my galvanized metal star on top. A lot of times I don't like to hot glue the metal. It did seem to be really strong. They also have this star in like a maroon color, and I think it would be really pretty like that as well. To kind of reinforce it a little bit and to cover the hole there in the sign, I did use just a metal thumbtack from Dollar Tree to help hold it on, since I'm not totally sure the hot glue is going to hold well. It seems to. And that is all there is to it. Just 2 items from the Dollar Tree. I think it looks really fun for the 4th of July. They had all different sizes of these mirrors at my Dollar Tree. They had just got them in. And when I saw the gold, I just knew I had to do something with some of these metal signs because I wasn't really sure what to do with them. I have one of the maroon ones as well. I think they're really pretty. But very festive. I want to make a DIY a firework. So this was a really fun idea and it turned out so cute.
I'm going to use one of these little star print bandanas from the Dollar Tree this year. It's white with red and blue stars all over, and one of these long candles from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut off enough of the bandana to cover that, kind of like you would use paper to roll around something like that, kind of like we did on that Patriotic vase. Now, initially, I wanted to use a one of the vases like this from the Dollar Tree, but I couldn't find any at my Dollar Tree, so I picked up a candle instead. But they do have vases that are very similar to this if you wanted to do that. But, you know, I can always reuse this candle later if I want to take it apart, but it turned out so cute, I might not want to. The candle itself does provide a nice weight, too, if to make it, you know, stand straight up and nice and heavy. So I just need now to attach that fabric. I just do a bead of hot glue along the candle and line up my fabric. We're not going to cover like the bottom of the firework. It doesn't really need it. You're not going to be able to see it. But we are going to cover up the top of the candle so you won't know that it is a candle inside. And then I just wrapped it around and hot glued it to itself here on the back. And I think this fabric looks really cute for a firecracker pattern. It's very kind of simple, but I think it looks like something that would be on a firecracker. So now it's just a matter of covering the top of the candle for our DIY firecracker. This would be really cute if you did like 2 or 3 of them together, displayed them together. You could even do different sizes. I've seen some people make firecrackers out of empty Pringle boxes. You could do big ones like that. That'd be cute. And that would be a really cute outdoor DIY too, because it would be kind of large. So I'm using that same bandana and I'm cutting out a circle, but I cut it out larger than the top. So I just used a pen to kind of draw a circle, like maybe like 1/4 of an inch around each side so that I can kind of cover up that lip on the top of the candle as well and look like it's all covered with that flag pattern. So to attach that initially, I have blue fingers from spray painting. I make such a mess when I spray paint. Those blue stars. And then I'm going to cut just a tiny little hole right in the middle of that too, so that we can attach like our wick of our firecracker. I do a bead of hot glue all along the top of the candle and just sit that on top. Now remember, we cut that a little bit larger so that we could cover that lip. So I do a thin bead of hot glue all along the edges of the top and just glue that down on top, kind of encasing that in like you would see on that firecracker shape. Super easy. This was such an easy DIY and it just turned out so cute. I'm so glad that I made it. Now for the wick, I thought, you could use rope if you wanted to look like an unlit firecracker. I do something a little bit different. I do kind of want to cover up the transition area between the 2 different pieces of fabric though. And I have some of this burlap trim from the Dollar Tree. So I thought that would be really cute. And it's going to be kind of like that same feel like a rope would be for the wick, that brown material, burlappy. And I just glue that all around the seam between my 2 pieces of fabric. And I really am glad that I did that extra step because I think it made it look really cute. Okay, now for the wick. I picked up some of these little cupcake picks from the Dollar Tree. You get 12 in a package, and I thought this would look really cute because it would look like the firework was lit, right? So I just opened that up by peeling the little plastic piece off of it. It's got like red, silver, and blue in there, and I think it looks like an exploding like little firework, right? So I'm going to do a little bit of hot glue on the opening I cut in the top of the center. And then I just kind of push the pick down. I was going to glue it in place, but I found that it was a little bit more stable if I push it down a little bit and just kind of lightly nestle it in the top of the candle because we have the candle wax in there and that will keep it in place and upright. Here is our little DIY firecracker. Oh, I think it turned out so sweet. I am in love with this. I am definitely going to have to make some more of these because they were so easy and they really give you a 4th of July feel.
And it's nice and heavy duty too with that heavy candle in there. It'd be cute if you could do different sizes too. But there it is. It's our exploding firework DIY. So easy and fun to make for the 4th of July.
Okay, I wanted to do a wood round for 4th of July, but something really easy that you could put together with supplies from the Dollar Tree. So I picked up a wood round. I don't know why mine's so bowed. It is really bowed. I don't know if it's my Florida humidity, but I was like, I can't flatten this thing out. So to make it thicker and to straighten it out, I decided to use 2 of them. My second one was just as bowed as my first one. And I know they weren't like that when I bought them because I bought a whole case of them from DollarTree.com. But it's probably just the humidity here. Those thin Dollar Tree signs like to bow anyway. But I'm just going to attach them together. That's going to straighten them out, make them look thicker, a little bit more high end too. Now, when you do this, kind of hot glue all over and then make sure you line up the holes on the top because otherwise you're not going to be able to get your hanger through there. So that is the most important step. I wanted to stain mine to bring out that beautiful wood grain, and my Antique Wax by Waverly is totally empty, but I'm going to finish the jar off on this one. I don't want to add very much because I kind of want a light stain, so I think that's good. And to stain it, I just use a baby wipe and I wipe that antique wax all over, and look at that beautiful wood grain on that cheap Dollar Tree sign. So this is going to be a fun sign for decorating for 4th of July. You can also use it for a door hanging if you're having a 4th of July party or something like that too. It was so easy to put together using one of these beautiful window clings from the Dollar Tree this year. It says Sweet Land of Liberty. It kind of has a navy background, and you also have all of those fireworks to choose from too. So we're just going to use some Dollar Tree Mod Podge, and I'm going to go all over. You know, the Mod Podge is so thin when I squeeze it out. I always squeeze out too much, but we're going to try to thin this out a little bit because you don't need very much with window clings. I decided to use a paper towel to make it a little bit thinner because I did go a little heavy. And I did the whole sign because we're going to decorate the whole sign. So the first thing we're going to glue down is the Sweet Land of Liberty right here in the center. And I'm just going to use like a baby wipe to kind of smooth that out, try to get rid of the air bubbles. If you do get some bubbles, it will probably dry and you probably won't be able to see those in the end. And then our little fireworks exploding all around would be super easy. That one's a little big, and I do have plans for the top, so I'm going to maybe do some smaller ones. I just want to fill in most of the space on our sign here with a little exploding of fireworks. And these are really cute. I don't remember seeing these window clings before at Dollar Tree, so I think they might be new this year. And then also has little stars. So I'm going to use the little white stars to fill in some of the open areas still left on my sign there. And then to make sure they stay down, I'm going to go over the whole thing with more Mod Podge, sealing those down in the process. And you want to do the whole sign, not just where the decals are, because this is going to be like a matte finish, the matte Mod Podge, and you want that same finish all over. So I go in with my heat gun and give that a dry. As you can see, I did have some bubbling, but I think that is just from Mod Podge. So I kind of use a Cricut scraper to carefully smooth that out and get some of that trapped glue out. And any other bubbles should dry on their own, probably within a day. So it is time to reattach the hanger. I'm going to use some of that thin Dollar Tree twine. It's going to be a little bit challenging to get it through both sides though. So I use a little hot glue on the tip and kind of mold that into a harder material so that I can feed that through. I like to feed my twine through the back and tie it in the front. I find that it hangs better that way. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. If you find that you have trouble getting it through there, like a Cricut leader is sometimes helpful to kind of push that twine through. And we have a hanger for our sign. Now we just need a bow. And they have these great patriotic bows at the Dollar Tree this year. They're like a burlap stars and stripes. And they even have like a plastic lining on the back to make them kind of weatherproof. I don't want it hanging straight down like that though, because it's going to cover up our image. So I just take it apart. I didn't want to take the bow part apart, but it kind of all came apart when I took the little stripe tails off. So we're just going to put this back together now. I want it to kind of go off slightly to the sides. It's okay if it covers some of the fireworks, but I don't want it to cover like the writing on the sign. So I just attach both of the little bow tails there with some hot glue. And you can also give it a little bit of movement in the bow by kind of gluing the sides together and or to the sign like that and pushing it up a little bit, and gives it a little bit more depth rather than laying flat. Now I just had to put my bow back together. Be careful with this because there are staples in this. So you're probably going to want the staples to go like towards the sign so they don't stick out. But I just used some hot glue. I didn't think it was going to stay together too well, so I did add more hot glue to it and made sure it was all glued to itself, which kind of flattened out the center part of the bow, but I think that's okay. And that's going to go on the top of our little Sweet Land of Liberty wood round sign. And I'm just going to attach that with hot glue as well. So I don't have any visible staples or anything. And the signs are still rather thin. They might be too thin for a staple. And I just glue that to the top of our bow. This one came loose, so I'm going to kind of glue that one back up a little bit. And I think this is a really easy 4th of July sign. What do you guys think about our little Dollar Tree wood round for the 4th of July? If you wanted to put some rope or something around the edges of the wood round, that would be really cute too, but I was going for quick and easy with this DIY, so I think we're going to leave it as is. And I love it. Such a fun way to make a sign without a Cricut. And this is how it turned out, our little sweet land of liberty.
I think it turned out so pretty. I think staining the wood round really made it look classy. And that beautiful patriotic ribbon really kind of sets it off as well. I really love decorating with those decals. It's so easy. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's video? Be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do a little bit better here on YouTube. Up next, we're going to decorate this 2-tier tray for the 4th of July. I love doing tier trays, and this one turned out so festive. So let's get started. I'm going to use one of the little wood block signs from the Dollar Tree. I don't know why it came with a little water damage on it, but that's okay. It's on the back. And one of the Patriotic wind chime kits from the Dollar Tree. You know, I'm going to save some of these pieces, like the wind chime stuff, because I love making wind chimes, so why not save the materials? I just wanted the little USA map, and maybe the star. I thought about using the star, but I actually end up not using it. I do have to fill the holes in it since it is a wind chime kit, and I want to cover up all of the writing on there. It's kind of cute, and you could do it with a stain, but with the holes and stuff in there, I kind of wanted it to all be solid. Now, what I'm thinking with this is that I wanted to make it blue with white stars like the flag, but I definitely have to cover up all of the writing, so I did 2 coats of white first as a base coat, and I was thinking about if I wanted to do like little white stars all over it, or I could just use one large white star. So I went ahead and painted and filled that one as well, just in case I decided to use it. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint it. So I just used a little makeup sponge, and I probably used way too much paint, but I only had to do 1 coat that way. I did navy acrylic to give me this great background, and it definitely covered up all of the writing that was already on the wood piece. I want to have that on the other sign, this sign, and I want this sign to look like the flag stripes, right? So it's already got a white center stripe, and so that just makes logical sense to go with the pattern of the sign. So I just taped off the middle, and I'm going to paint the top and the bottom because we're going to display this like horizontally with just some bright red acrylic paint. And it really doesn't take very much. That red shows up really well on the white background. So that looks really good for like a flag stripe background. I think this is going to look really cute to start off this tier tray. I just attached the little wind chime piece with hot glue, centering that right on there, perfect size. And that's when I was trying to decide. I didn't really like just the 1 star on there, so I think I'm actually going to add like flag stars. I'm just going to freehand them. I started with a paint pen, though, that was clearly out of juice. So let me replace that real quick with one that actually works. This one works way better. I love these Posca paint pens so much. I think I have them in every color now. They are my favorite. And I'm just going to freehand this. You could, if you want it to be perfect, you could always make a stencil or something. But I'm just making a traditional star shape and filling it in. Close enough, and I want it to be staggered like they are on a flag, kind of alternating, but I don't really have a square shape, so I kind of have to work around, like, you know, the shape of the USA to kind of make it work. So it's definitely not going to be perfect, but I think it turned out really cute. And it definitely has like the effect I was going for with like the flag stars against the flag stripes to make a super patriotic sign. This is going to be like traditional Americana with this first tier tray, something that can kind of go with any kind of coastal decor or any other kind of decor you have in your home. So that is how the first one turned out. So we're going to start making the tier tray. I want this one kind of on the top. It's a nice big piece. It takes up a lot of room on this tier tray. And on to the next DIY. I DIY'd these little fireworks in a video the other day, and I thought they were so cute. I've never seen these before at the Dollar Tree. They are covered with tinsel, which is not really the look I'm going for on this tier tray. I want it to look more rustic, more kind of farmhouse looking, so I definitely want to get rid of all of the sparkle. So all you have to do is unwind all of the twine. Each one is like a different piece, each color, but I like the little explosive part on top that makes it look like a lit firework. So I'm going to try covering them with the burlap. They have this burlap in the 4th of July aisle this year at Dollar Tree in patriotic colors. So I'm going to start with the largest one in navy, and I'm just going to cut out like a small rectangle of that. Try to clean it up the best that I can. Definitely doesn't have to be perfect, but I don't want like super frayed edges. I want it to look as clean as I can. And working with burlap, you know, if you don't seal the edges, it's going to kind of fray a little bit, but that's okay. Now I'm going to try just covering it with the burlap. I'm going to cover up kind of everything on this one, just hot gluing this on. The previous DIY I made with these, I took the little placemats and like hats from the Dollar Tree and unwound them and did patriotic colors and wrapped it. So if you haven't seen that video and you want another way to try to DIY those, check that one out. I do have the picture of the fireworks in my cover photo, so it should be easy for you to find. And I left it a little longer here in the top on purpose so that I could just hot glue that down to cover the top of the firework too. And then I can just trim off any excess fabric. Definitely doesn't have to be perfect. I just kind of hot glue everything and kind of push it down. Now there are plastic tabs on there that were used to use the tinsel that kind of poke through a little bit. I'm going to try to hide those the best that I can, but I'm not too concerned with them. On the wrapping one, you don't notice that as much because it kind of covers it, but you know, fabric is going to be thinner. And especially fabric like burlap with holes in it, right? So for the like medium size firework, we're going to do the same thing, but we're just using some of the red burlap. So I cut a rectangle down to size for that, just a little bit too long. And it kind of has this important tab in it that I'm going to cut little slits for and just kind of push that through the burlap. Burlap is pretty adjustable, but these were kind of big, so I did have to cut little openings there for them. And that's what I did. I'm going to use that to help put everything back together. And then I can hot glue down both edges here of the burlap, and we're going to finish it off the same way. They have these little plastic tabs on them that like make it all kind of go together, but I'm covering up a lot of important pieces. So I will have to kind of just glue them together anyway. I'm going to bundle everything together in the end. So if it really bothers you, those pieces, you really can cut them off like with some heavy duty scissors, like those big tabs. And no big deal, but I thought I would use them to help me connect them together, kind of like that. So finally, we're going to do the third firework. This was my favorite burlap they have for the 4th of July this year, the star pattern. Isn't that so cute? So this is the smallest one. We're going to cut down a piece of burlap for it. And I wanted this one for the front because it's nice and decorative with that star pattern, and it can really stand out. Has little tabs on it as well. But they're smaller, so I can just kind of move the openings there in the burlap and just make it work by putting it right on there. And then I kind of hot glue it around. And again, the other side, I just kind of work around the tabs. I end up cutting 2 of those tabs off because otherwise I think I covered up probably the openings for the other 2 and I couldn't really figure out how to do it. But again, just finishing off the top, I do like the little tinsel part where the firework looks like it's exploding. So I think that's really cute. And so definitely leaving that on there. But I wanted just a really cute decorative piece. And I love that Dollar Tree has these now because I'm always looking for ways to try to make firecrackers, fireworks for 4th of July. And it's nice to kind of have like the cage, the base already. I'm just going to hot glue that tab on top of the next one. You're not going to be able to see that area because that's where this one goes on. And then I'm going to cut off 2 of those tabs actually just to make it easier to put together. And using hot glue, glue that into those open slots on that little plastic bracket. And then I'm going to bundle it together actually in 2 different places with some twine because you can see the plastic little tabs sticking out. in this area and then in the middle. So I thought I'll just double bundle it, and that will kind of help mask it there and make that not so noticeable. Really, the only tabs that you can kind of see in the end are those ones above, like on the top ring of it. You can always snip those off before you covered yours with burlap if that bothered you. It didn't really bother me, so I kind of just let it go on that one. So double bundled, kind of mask that area, makes it look more complete, and I think these turned out really cute too. I don't know which way I like better, the one with like the hat and the placemats or this one, but definitely a fun little addition for a patriotic tier tray. So we're going to put that right there on the top next to the sign that we made. And then I kind of wanted to bring in some greenery. This is one of those $5 boxwood plants from Target, but if you watch they go on clearance, I think I got this for like $1. It has a plain white pot, which we're gonna make festive. I have one of these patriotic handkerchiefs from the Dollar Tree left over from another DIY, and I'm just gonna kind of try to cut a ribbon out of the blue and white star part of it. I think this is really cute. And I'm just going to kind of use the pot for reference. I'm just going to make like a sleeve to go over it. Something that's going to be easy to remove when 4th of July is over. Because I love decorating with those little pots like that. The boxwood is so universal. And I'm going to be bringing in a lot of greenery on this tier tray. To kind of offset the red, white, and blue. And it really all works really well together. I don't think I've ever done that for any of my 4th of July tier trays. But I really like the contrast it brings. So I just hot glue that onto my pot, just making a little bit of a sleeve like that. And I didn't really care about a finished edge there for the top of it, but I'm going to finish it with just some Dollar Tree ribbon in bright red to give me, some more red, white, and blue going on here. I'm just going to hot glue that around the top of the sleeve, and that covers up that edge, gives it a finished look, and it adds to the patriotic appeal of this little plant DIY. Super cute. Check out these little plants from Target. They are really a good deal. Even if you have to pay full price $5 for them, they are well worth it. We're going to sit this one here. It's kind of a tight fit, barely fits, but I think it'll be just fine right here next to the fireworks. Now, these are from the Dollar Tree, the little mini tin buckets. I think they're really cute and patriotic. You get 3 in a package. I'm going to use the blue with the white star one. And then I have 3 of the little tiny flags from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use some of the red sand for like a filler in the pot to hold the flags up. This is going to be a taller piece, so I want to do this on the top tier. So I'm going to put red sand in there, just kind of stagger out. 3 looks really good. You're going to want like an odd number of flags. Maybe fill it with a little bit more red sand, and you can't get much easier than that for a tier tray DIY. And look how festive and cute that looks. That's going to be the perfect final like piece here for the top tier. We're going to sit it here next to the plant. And you can always kind of adjust in the sand to kind of make those fit wherever you want. And then I want more boxwood filler. These are from the Target dollar spot. I got this one last year for $3. This year I think you got 2 for $5, but I always pick them up because they're a great source for greenery. So what I'm doing is I just pick them all off of it, and I get all these little pieces. It's kind of just an easier way to do it, but you can always get boxwood from the Dollar Tree as well, and you can cut it up into little pieces. This just kind of makes it easier, and I'm actually going to use all of it for this tier tray because I want to incorporate a lot of green. Doesn't that look really cool up against the red and the blues? I think that looks really good together. So just kind of filling up any spaces with the greenery. And then this is one of the Dollar Tree wood bead garlands. This is the one from last year. The charms were a little bit smaller last year, but you could totally use the ones from this year. They're super cute too. I'm going to kind of put mine through the hanger or the handle for my tray, kind of letting the flag sit in the plant, and wrap that around. It can even hang off a little bit. I'm actually going to use 2 of those wood bead garlands on this tier tray because I think they're so cute and festive. So the top tier is definitely filling up. I just wanted to add one more touch, some flowers. So I picked up some blue mums. Don't these look very patriotic? I think they kind of look like exploding fireworks almost. And we're going to use those for filler too, along with the boxwood. I'm going to use like a total of 2 up here, just to kind of fill up any kind of bare spaces and add a little bit more color to the tray. And now we can move on to the bottom of the tier tray. I'm going to use the rest of that boxwood filler. And down here, I'm going to add it first, just scattering it all around. I can kind of move it around as I add things to the bottom tier. This is the other would-be garland. This one has a little USA map on there. And again, this is one from last year too. The ones this year just have a bigger charm on them, but they're still red, white, and blue. They're very similar. And I didn't use these last year, so I kind of have them left over. And I just kind of scatter that on my boxwood to get started. The next little guy I actually got at Target. I've had this for years. It's one of those pop figures, but it's Uncle Sam. And I got it like in the 4th of July section one time there. And I love him. So I always try to incorporate him on my coffee bar or a tier tray for the 4th of July. Now, using those buckets again, this DIY is so simple. I'm going to take a Dollar Tree skewer, cut it down because it's a little too long, and one of the flag patches. I love picking these up from the Crafter Square because they make great patriotic decor, and I'm going to actually use it as a flag. So I'm going to use the skewer as the flagpole. I'm going to simply hot glue the patch on, and then we're going to display that in that little bucket. It's going to be like a nice piece kind of in the back of the bottom tier, kind of peeking out a little flag. And I'm going to use sand again. If you want it to be a little bit sturdier, you could put a little bit of foam in the bottom of that. I think it's going to be okay. It's pretty lightweight. I just put the skewer down inside the sand bucket. And we're going to hit this here to the left of Uncle Sam. Perfect scale for a tier tray for a flag. And I think that looks pretty good. The next DIY, I designed this printable, which I'll share with you. And look at this new 3.5 by 5.5 wood they have at the Dollar Tree. I think this is going to make a perfect sign. It's going to be super easy. It is rough wood, so you do have to sand it a little bit to get any splinters off of it. And I'm going to stain the back and the sides of it just to make it look more finished on my tray. Because my tray is going on my kitchen table, you're going to be able to see it from every angle. I don't want it to have like raw wood on it. So I just put some Antique Wax by Waverly on there, kind of spreading that around with a baby wipe to give me a very light stain. And then we can Mod Podge on our image. I designed this image. I will share the link to this in the description below this video. And this is the image I designed. It's a watercolor of the Statue of Liberty with a flag background, very patriotic. And I actually have it to scale for this, but you could always resize it if you needed to. 3.5 by 5.5 inches, I think is what it is. I printed mine out on cardstock because I love Mod Podging with cardstock. It doesn't wrinkle. It looks very professional. And it seems to hold it pretty well. So I then Mod Podge over the top of it. One coat on both, give it a quick dry, and we have a beautiful 4th of July sign for the tier tray. And I'm so glad I stained the sides and the back. It just makes it look so much better. This is kind of the star of the show. I'm going to put it here next to the flag with it kind of peeking out beside it. Up next are the little wood blocks, the chunky wood blocks from the Dollar Tree. I think these are perfect for 4th of July. I'm going to actually replace the hanger, but first I want to stain them. I've covered these with fabric. I've covered these with paper. I've used sublimation. So I wanted to try something different. I'm going to try staining them. So I take a little bit of the red and a little bit of the navy paint, add it to water, and we're just going to make a very thin stain. That way we can stain it. You're still going to be able to see that wood grain come through. And so I'm going to do all of it, the front, the back, the sides. I just use a dry paper towel to kind of wipe off the excess once I get everything covered. You do have to give it a few seconds to kind of let the paint, sink in. And so this is how the blue one turned out. I think this was perfect. I didn't add very much paint, so it is a very thin stain, but definitely added a lot of color, I think, to this one. And I kind of like that look. It's very simple, but very patriotic with the red and the blue. Now, this is the red one. I don't think I put quite enough paint in it because it's red, but it's kind of a very soft red. I wanted it to be a little bit brighter. So after I do my first coat, I do add some more red paint to the stain and go over it again because as you can see, it's just a little faded out. I want it to be a little bit more red than that. So I put another layer on there and kind of dry it without rubbing it in at that time to kind of really let that soak in and let that color stay on there without me accidentally kind of rubbing it off. And then we're going to go ahead and do all the sides as well. And that looks way better. I'm not going to, patch the holes. I'm going to go ahead and just replace the little hangers. They're not going to be hanging stars, but it'll look cute with the little twine hangers just kind of like sitting off to the side. And it's kind of easier than kind of patching the hole in these. And so I just kind of put those through, tie them off, make 2 little loops, and we have 2 little chunky stars. I want one to be kind of up above the other one, so I'm going to use a spacer block. This is one of those Five Below Jenga blocks. I love these. They have these every spring at Five Below, and you get a ton of wood. They're perfect for tier trays. And I stained it all over with some Antique Wax by Waverly. Very simple, and it gives me a little riser block, so you can see the 1 star behind the other is what I was going for. So let's put these over here. I'm going to start with the spacer block. And we're going to do the blue star there in the back and the red star in front and kind of like off to the side a little bit like that, so you can see both of them. Very subtle but pretty. I love that you can see the wood grain through them. The next, I don't really have to do anything to this. I wouldn't even call this a DIY. It's one of the bottle cap signs from the 4th of July this year. God bless America, freedom with the little truck on there. All I did was cut the hanger off of it, and we're just going to make this a leaning sign that can be right here against the pole in the middle of the tier tray, and it can kind of lean back on its own. Great size sign because it kind of like takes up a lot of room there, but fills it in nicely. We've already got our boxwood filler in there, so now we're going to fill it in with those blue mums, and I had like 4 of those left over, so every like 1/4 of it, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 of those flowers. And I think that adds another fun touch to this tier tray. Now, I really love having little mini pennant banners on tier trays, and I thought that this one needed it. This is the other Patriotic burlap they have this year at Dollar Tree. It's a red, white, and blue like stripes on there. And I'm just going to cut out a strip of it. And I want to make a little mini pennant banner. So it's already folded like that. I folded again and again because I wanted to cut out 8 triangle shapes for a pennant all at once. But my scissors weren't really up to task. So I ended up having to kind of cut 4 at a time and then cut the other 4 at a time. It was just a little too thick, but I did it this way. I thought it would be easier, and I want to make sure that all the triangles are kind of cut the same size. We're going to make just a very simple pennant banner, just gluing the burlap onto Dollar Tree twine, which I already kind of measured out to go around the top tier. And they're a little curly, so I'm actually just going to give them a quick iron with my heat gun. It worked pretty well to flatten them out without actually having to bring out an iron for this project. And I'm going to use a ruler to try to help me center these out for spacing, because we're just going to glue these on the twine, so you're not going to be able to move them later. Again, just a very simple pennant banner. So I'm going to start right here. Give me enough twine to be able to tie it off. And I just do a thin bead of hot glue on the back of the burlap and just sit the twine right on top. And using my Dollar Tree square, I'm going to use that to help me space this out. I kind of tried to determine where the center was, so I had some kind of idea about how far I should space them out. I thought about every 3 inches, but I decided every 2 inches was probably going to be fine, and it worked out perfect for my size tier tray. And you guys always ask where I get my tier trays at. This one today I actually got on clearance at Bell's Outlet, which is kind of a store we have here in Florida. It's a really cute wooden one, but most of my tier trays I've actually gotten on Amazon. You can get some really cute ones on there too. And every 2 inches, I am just hot gluing one of these on. I told you this was going to be really easy. And then I'm going to go tie that to the top tier of the tier tray. And this is the final project for this tier tray. And don't go anywhere because I'm going to have more tier tray DIYs for you. I'm just going to tie this on, and then I will just cut off the excess twine. Super cute, and you can kind of adjust it on there to make sure it's right where it needs to be. This is how it looks from this angle. I forgot to cut the twine off, but I remember here in just a second once I start spinning this around. I think that Statue of Liberty sign turned out really cute, and definitely will share that with you. The little bottle cap sign, very patriotic. I love all that greenery in there. I think that looks so cool with the red, white, and blue. And the little flag sign, super cute with the little USA map and the little flags in the bucket. So easy to do. And the blue mums, I think, are a really nice touch as well. So here is kind of another angle. Looking down, there is little Uncle Sam. I'm glad I incorporated him. He's so cute. And that is 25 Dollar Tree 4th of July DIYs. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Please let me know which DIY was your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. Don't forget to check out my second channel, Crafty Little Beach, for individual DIYs, and enjoy the final reveal. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's crafting marathon. And I also wanted to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members. Thank you so much to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, Maria Cruz Pagan, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Lori Hollingsworth, and our newest member, Mindy Hupp. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member, you're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube, a badge next to your name when you comment down below, and a shout out in every video. All you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video on your computer or your phone. And we would also love to see your DIYs. Be sure to show off your DIYs in our private Facebook group. I always have it linked in the description of the video. We would love to see what you've been crafting. You guys are so very creative. And if you'd like more 4th of July crafting inspiration, be sure to check out one of these patriotic videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting.
In America, things catch fire.